www.OGHUSKEYRADIO, broadcasting live from the east side of Los Angeles worldwide. Special guests every week. Switched it up a little bit. Top ranks in the Bahamas. Spring breaking it, I suppose. But go ahead and introduce yourself first of all. Who we got?
My name is Alex Enamorado. My free time, I'm a street vendor activist. My 9 to 5, I'm a project manager for political campaigns. And yeah.
Start to get straight in. What political campaigns you working on right now?
So right now we just finished from November. We're ramping up for the 2024 presidential election. We still don't know who's gonna run, but I've made it clear to my higher ups that I would never work for Joe Biden, but we're trying to see what's up right now. But right now we're starting a nonprofit for the street vendor initiatives that we're doing. So that's our next goal right now. So we'll see what happens with that.
We'll get into that in a little bit. Let's go back. We're born and raised. Where are you from?
I was actually born in Guatemala. My parents came here when I was like 8 months old. They moved to Cudahy.
They came here to steal jobs from us Americans?
Yes, they did. My dad stole a mechanic job, man. He kidnapped him, left him in the trunk, and he took his spot. And he's been there ever since. So, I've been living here ever since. So,
schooling? What's private school, public school?
Public school.
Yeah. Were your parents political?
Nah, not at all.
Republican, Democrat?
My parents don't vote. My parents are religious. They're Jehovah's Witness, so they don't vote. They don't get involved with that.
If you don't, are you don't mind me? Are you Jehovah's Witness?
No, I stopped when I was like 15. I stopped going. I was never baptized, so I was never shunned or anything like that. So I just completely stopped. And my parents respect my decision. They're cool with it. I consider myself an agnostic, and here and there sometimes we sit and debate, but. That's pretty much what it is.
Trip out. We'll get into that a little bit later. Is that why you're able to go door to door with these people that are tripping, or what?
No, you know what? That's what I do as my job. So at my job, I manage people going door to door for campaigns. Okay. So I have an app, and I make sure they're all. I send them out to their turf, and when my boss found out that I was a Jehovah's Witness growing up, he's like, "Oh, no wonder." He's like, "You have a lifetime experience of talking to people on the door." So. I've been able to manage people who have their masters under me, and I don't have that. So, but that definitely prepared me to what I'm at.
How far in schooling did you go to any college or anything like that?
I went to ELAC. Just okay. My major was criminal justice and theater acting, but that was I went there for 3 years.
Okay. You would be a cop or what?
Nah. I wanted to be a lawyer, but that didn't happen.
Okay. Yeah. And then I just seen a post. You just posted a little couple hours ago, man. And when did you transition into puppet?
Into puppet?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I mean, growing up in Cudahy, like, how did I become puppet?
Yeah, like what year? No, get into it. Like, what attracted you to that lifestyle?
Like middle school, high school. Growing up in Cudahy, there's 2 major gangs. There's more gangs, but there's 2 major gangs. And all my homies got into both of them. Well, I had half of my homies got into one, and half of my homies got to the other one. And then I had love for both of my homies. I got into each one of them, so I almost joined one of them.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't beef it with people I grew up with. It just didn't make any sense to me. But I'll be honest. One time I was coming out of school, and then my homie had beef with someone from a crew, and then they tried to kill him. They tried to stab him, and I was there, so I had to choose between my homie, who I knew since I was 4 years old, and some fools that I knew for like a year. So then from there, it just started with fights, jumping, and then shootouts, and then it just got all bad from there.
What made you leave that lifestyle? What was the transition from leaving that, like being in it?
I think it was when someone that I was dating, she got shot, and when she died, I took a lot of I felt guilty about it, because I'm the one that introduced her to this circle. And it didn't happen overnight, bro, but she would, the day that she died, she was giving me a lecture, because I would go into my enemy's territory all the time. And so, little by little, I just started, stepping away from that shit. And it's crazy, because my enemies who wanted to kill me, when they found out that she died, they kind of like, not backed off completely, but they just, I don't know, things changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, that's some crazy shit.
Yeah.
What made you become an activist?
So in 2009, we were going to a party with my homies, and then long story short, I ended up getting beat up by LAPD, And in 2010,
Were you resisting arrest?
nah. So
That was a joke, dog.
nah, that's what made me more upset because I didn't even get arrested. I didn't get a ticket or nothing. We were just going to a party and my homie took a red light, so they stopped him and he decided to play a prank. He told the cop that there was guys on the cross the street like, hey, they're throwing gang signs. So one of the cops got in his car, busted a bitch, threw me down on the floor, started pistol whipping me in my head, telling me, who the fuck do I think you're throwing gang signs? And I was like, what the fuck? And then my homie screamed out the fool who got stopped, his full name. That's when he backed off. And he had a face like he seen a ghost. He told me, if you would have put your hands in your pocket, I would have killed you. Like my partner got shot yesterday by a gang member. We were bald with, high socks and everything. And so that was the first time. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether to sue or not. I went home, bro, with a big ass fucking chichote, and I was like, what the fuck, reflecting on life, like, fuck, I could have got killed, And then next time, a year later, we were in Cudahy coming out of Potreros Club, and the cops stopped us again, and they were searching our car. To me, it was like a regular day, So, well, when the cop was interlocking my fingers, he broke my finger, and I just started mouthing off. I started talking a lot of shit, and then they told my friends to leave. They sat me down on the sidewalk, and they just started kicking me, kneeing me, telling me if I don't shut the fuck up, they're gonna smoke me. So that's when I was like, nah, this is the second time. So I started going to like city council meetings. 6 months later, the whole department was disbanded because they were having a lot of they were having sexual relations with underage girls. They had trances with the towing company. They were fucking with raza every day.
That was the mayor too, right? Was that the mayor? Was that Cudahy was the mayor too that was corrupt?
That was a separate situation. Yeah,
but I'm saying
he was
that
corrupt.
was damn, what's wrong with Cudahy, man?
Yeah, man, it's just a big corruption. I don't know. It's just, now that I'm older, when you take people like me out the hood, I've noticed that people who have never had a lot of money in front of them, it's hard for them not to say no. It's hard for them not to, because it's just like, it's really appealing. And that's basically what they fell for. I don't think they're generally bad people, but they just made some bad decisions.
Right here is Council District 14. Man, since I was a kid, dog, I'm talking about like, and people could look it up. I think it was like Ala Torre, Villa Regosa a few years ago. Now with Weezar and all, like, damn, bro, like it's like nonstop. But like I said, I remember as a kid, like, oh yeah, he was a good dude. Oh yeah, he kind of got caught up, you know what I mean? Like, but it's like never ending, bro. Like, god damn, it just keeps going in a cycle, Yeah. I guess but the real question though too is, do you still wear high socks though?
Sometimes they're still high, but se me bajan a veces. They're black. I don't wear white ones no more.
Yeah. Where do you gain like the knowledge of, let's say, just the laws in general for like street vendors? Where do you get that from?
So in 2014, my homie, I was looking for a job. I had just got out of jail, and I didn't know. I started my own business, and my friend told me, hey, they hired me to register people to vote. So they sent us to Orange County, and I did really good. And that's when the big boss from the office, he I guess I ended up breaking a record. I don't know. I think I registered more people in one day than anyone else. So he sent me to his office. His name was Antonio Gonzalez. He had an office right here in Lincoln Heights. He's still there. It was called Es Su Voto Es Su Voz, Southwest Voter. And this guy took me under his wing for 5 years. And he taught me everything I know. This guy would train people to run for office. I think he was named one of the top 25 most influential Hispanics in America. He has a lot of awards from like presidents and stuff like that. It was very political. And when I started working for him, I didn't know what the Senate was. I didn't know what the Congress was. I didn't know shit about politics. But being with him for 5 years, man, I learned a lot. And because of him, I was able to get after he died in 2018. And after that, I was able to get good jobs like at USC. I worked at USC. When USC found out, there was a professor at USC who went to school with my boss, and he said, whoa, you worked with Antonio Gonzalez for 5 years? Oh, man, you're cutthroat. Come over here. And he hired me. I've been able to this guy is very, very well known. I've been able to get into spaces just by simply being his his prodigy.
Do you plan to go into politics to run for office? Because I think you're in something right now, right? I mean, you hold office, or you held office before.
I was a city commissioner, but I'm not a citizen, so I'm a U.S. resident right now. So even if I really wanted to run for politics, I could have become a citizen. But honestly, now it's just a dirty game, man. And I feel like I could do more behind the scenes, kind of doing what I'm doing, and I think I made the right decision, man. And maybe in the future, though.
All right. Yeah. Where do you get your news from? Your information?
I look at everything.
Fox News. If
you look at my bookmarks, I have Common Dreams is the first one. The second one is it's Newsmax, OAN, Fox News, CNN, Democracy Now. I look at both sides, but I'm always interested in facts, mostly.
Word up. Yeah, it's a trip that, you know what I mean, that most people don't do that. So it's one-sided or whatever. Who tells the truth then, or where do you get how do you decipher the truth?
There's a couple websites that they're like PolitiFact and a bunch of fact checkers. Sometimes they are biased themselves. Yeah. They kind of twist a lot of shit sometimes. Like, for example, if they say, I don't know, for example, they said, oh, we're fact checking that this mic is not black. And yes, it's not black. But then, for example, if you said it was not black on a Wednesday, they'll say, oh, what Andres said was a lie. It's black on every day. No. But it's, they twist it like that. So you got to be very careful. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's get into it, man. Street vendors, can they set up anywhere?
Mm-mm. There's some zones that they can't. There's cities that don't allow street vending, like Southgate. There's vendors that call me and they're like, oh, me sacaron de aquí de Southgate. So I tell them, I'm sorry, Southgate just doesn't allow it,
Why not? What's the reasoning behind it?
I don't know. Southgate is one of many other cities that have ordinances that they just don't allow it. And I honestly don't have the time to show up to their meetings and demand them or just talk crap to them. But it's just something that
let's say, for example, Southgate. Is there at a local level, or what can people do? My everyday people or voters, or what can they do to kind of to change? Let's just say Southgate. We're not talking about anywhere else, just Southgate.
So if you live in Southgate, right, and let's say I know Denise Diaz, she's a city council member there. I don't know what she's voted on street vendors, but let's say I'm there and I see that she voted against street vendors. The next time, just don't vote for her. Next time, vote for the next person who you think will do a better job.
Word up. Where do street vendors wash their hands, dog, if they're out there for that long, dog?
I mean, so for example, there's a street vendor in Pomona, right? She sells on Town and Arrow. There's a Walmart and there's a Subway right there. Every time she uses a restroom, she washes her hands, or she goes there and washes her hands. She has hand sanitizers. She has a little water bottle that comes down, and she has soap. She washes it right there. But in order for me to make people feel more comfortable with the aesthetic, right now we're gonna start giving out, and I haven't told this to anyone. We're gonna start giving out portable compartment sinks, so everyone can have it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dope. Cart regulation. What was the Senate bill, and what was the big milestone with that?
The Senate bill was more like, Senate Bill 946 in 2018 decriminalized street vending. Senate Bill 972 is to update the retail food code and to decriminalize street vending more. But cart regulations, it's been really tough. I'm friends with Revolution Carts, and Richard could probably tell you way more than that about that. But he just had a tamale cart approved, and right now they're trying to get a taco cart approved. But the tamale cart has been doing very well. So
pretty much, if you agree with me, or just to add on to it, it's pretty much that you couldn't, unless it was a manufactured by a big name company or approved company, you could only use that cart to set up. What the deregulation did was a small business or an individual could do it as long as it was made up to regulation and code.
Correct.
And that was big because most people can't afford the overpriced, quote unquote, brand name cart, right?
Right.
Okay, but then Senate Bill 946 was to decriminalize. But if I read it correctly, and it was a few days ago, but isn't it that they could still be fined?
They could still be fined.
But it's not a criminal act, so it's a citation. No. How does that work? Like, what's the legalities in that?
Senate Bill 946 was a bill that was rushed because Donald Trump wanted to deport people with misdemeanors. So we didn't want people to get deported just for being street vendors. Yeah. So it was rushed.
Okay, and that's where it kind of, it's still...
Yeah.
Do we look to fix that with another Senate bill, or we just leave it, that's good enough for now?
See, the problem with Senate bills, man, is that it has to go through all these committees, right? And then they tweak it until everyone agrees. And it kind of definitely doesn't do much. Right now, what we're trying to do and on a local level is that, for example, in Riverside County, if you're an elotero, you have to have a industrial kitchen or a commissary to get a approval. But here in LA County, you can't. In Riverside, you can use your home kitchen as proof that that's where you prep your food, right? But we don't have that in LA County, so we want to change that. I had a meeting with the Department of Public Health 2 days ago, and they agree that they think that that'll open more doors.
Let's break it down, because even the word commissary, people won't even know what is a commissary. Because I mean, we could say words, we could break down, but let's so people know.
It's a kitchen, like whether it's from an industrial place. It's a kitchen where it's already regulated to their standards.
Because from my understanding too, you have to buy all your products from that commissary too, though, right? So like
that, I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
That I'm not 100% sure, but
because I know, and then I believe if you could answer too, is that like, let's say my cart, I can't leave my cart in my residential home. It has to be left at the commissary. Is that correct too?
Yes. Yeah.
So then that's for trucks, carts, anything of that nature. Right?
That's why this thing called Home Enterprise Kitchen is going to open a lot of new doors, and that's why on Tuesday we're going to go to the meeting.
Can anybody open up a commissary? Like if I get a business license, buy a property, or how does that go?
I'm pretty sure, but I'm pretty sure you have to walk through a bunch of hurdles, like jump over through all these hurdles. You know, it's
yeah, because that was something new. I know a guy who had a taco truck.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple months later, I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "Yeah, they got me." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he broke down the whole. I didn't know what a commissary was.
Yeah.
And he's like, "So yeah, I can't go get the best price for meat. It's whatever meat they have there." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, "That was a whole nother hustle."
Big time.
You know what I mean? I'm like, told my compadre we got to look into that commissary hustle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
dude,
see, that gives me another reason why that should be changed, because it's like they're trying to get their. It's dirty, man. Imagine there's like commissaries that are lobbying and trying to keep that law because they want to keep making that money.
Yeah, that's something definitely to look into. It's like something we don't, like I said, just even mentioning the word, we don't even know what it is. Just like, oh yeah, what's the big deal? And then how often would a health inspector come to someone's house though? Like how many houses can they see in a day if they're really checking people's kitchens? Like
so. During the meeting, they said that they usually do more inspections when they get calls. So if you're doing it from your home, it'll have to be a neighbor calling and whatnot. But there's some lunch trucks that my friend he owns lunch trucks, and he's part of this national association. They said that it's been over a year since they get inspected. Yeah. I don't think it'll be that much. I'm hoping.
OGHUSKEY Radio, stay posted. More interviews to come.